Hello and welcome to the Doofcast, the official variety podcast of doofmedia.com. My name is Scott Daly and I am your host, and I'm joined once again this week by my co-host and fellow person who sometimes streams video to the internet, Matt Freeman. Matt, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing good, Scott. I'm currently speaking into a microphone and sitting in front of a camera and doing all of the things that I suppose Twitch streamers do.
Yeah, which is a great way of setting up this week's topic. This week, we are talking all about Twitch, and you and I are kind of trying to get a handle on what this thing is and why people do it and why people like it.
Yeah, we both kept kind of bouncing off of it, if that makes any sense, and then we wanted to understand it better. So ultimately, we found somebody to talk to about that.
Yeah, so we brought on a Twitch streamer that I knew, through the internet, named Sesh Evans, and so we're going to have an interview with her later on in the show. That's already been recorded. It feels weird to do this, Matt. It's like we've already done that thing.
Yeah.
And we're just going to insert it there. It's a really great conversation. I'm thrilled with how it went. It was a lot of fun. She was great, and well, you'll get to hear that in just a little bit.
We just got a couple of things we wanted to talk about first.
Yeah, it's kind of a video game centric episode this week, huh?
Yeah. That's a great point, because the first thing that we wanted to talk about today is the progress that the OpenAI 5 Dota 2 playing AI has been making. So for people who aren't necessarily in the loop on this,
that's me.
That's Scott. So I'll just speak to you. So OpenAI is like an AI company. I forget who exactly is in control of it, but I know that Elon Musk is a big investor. But they've been developing increasingly impressive algorithms and models they make them almost all publicly available. That's kind of cool thing about them. But 1 year ago, almost exactly, they demonstrated a AI bot that could trounce expert Dota 2 players in a limited one-on-one bout. Like just, if you know anything about Dota 2, it's one of those like multiplayer lane control, kind of like what's the other one? League of Legends.
Yeah, but they're the MOBAs.
Yeah,
I know the terms,
MOBAs,
Matt.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about AI, but video games, I'm right there with you.
Yes. So, but like everyone knew that just because they could beat a player in a one-on-one game doesn't mean they would do well at the full scale of the game, because it's a very complex game. But earlier this month, their much more advanced OpenAI 5 system, which is a team of 5 bots, beat very skilled but not professional level human players in 2 out of 3 games that were like publicly held and streamed and everything. The game they lost was rigged, actually.
What do you mean by rigged?
The audience picked the heroes for the AI, and they picked like the worst possible set of heroes, and then
Okay.
and then the human players got to pick their own heroes, and there was just kind of no real chance. And like
Gotcha.
it was just, I'm not just saying this, but so that was kind of cool. But last week, that same system, which has been learning since then, actually lost its first game against a top team of professional humans. So that was it was like a 50-minute long game. It was a long, hard fight, and there was a lot of cool tactics on both sides. But it was really cool to watch and see what the AI is capable of, even if it did lose. It was kind of agreed on that the reason it lost was that while it's really, really good at like individual battles and tends to come out, with the edge of just having kind of like perfect control, it tends to make poorer long-term decisions.
Interesting.
And that's probably has a lot to do with like the architecture of how they design the AI. And what's interesting to me is that the developers of the AI themselves were actually surprised at how effective it was. Like they didn't think it would be as good as it is, because they didn't build any real capacity for long-term thinking into it, but it still does okay at long-term thinking. And that's kind of interesting and mildly alarming.
Yeah, this is really cool. I mean, the AI, I think, is something like, I don't want to call it a hobby of yours, because it makes it seem like you're like doing AI experiments in your free time, which I guess technically you are
sometimes,
kind of. But yeah, this is something you've been really following, and you anytime something big happens, I get little bits of information from this review. The idea of testing the capacity of AI via complex video games, and like, because I mean, this is the same group that like mastered both chess and Go, right? Like where their AI just like wipes the floor with humans and that stuff.
Well, that was actually DeepMind.
See, I can't even keep track anymore.
I mean, that's what's interesting. I mean, thanks for bringing that up though, because DeepMind is focusing on StarCraft 2 for their next like big thing that they're going to try to, because basically DeepMind has done essentially the same thing that OpenAI is doing here, where they'll kind of get their AI working really, really well and then have a big show match basically against a person. Mm-hmm. And usually they're really confident they're going to win when they do those things. So what they're working on is StarCraft 2, which is similarly like hugely complex and has like a million like choices to be made, and I think has an even more of a dependence on long-term decisions even than Dota does. I'm excited about that too.
Yeah, so it's cool that these multiplayer, long-term team-based games are like becoming the perfect testing ground for this kind of artificial intelligence stuff. I think that's really fascinating. And I'm also terrified, Matt.
Yeah, right. Because I mean, it kind of makes sense that once the AI has mastered sufficiently complex games, it's like, all right, well, at this point, you can just kind of point it at the types of things that humans do, that aren't games, and trust that it's going to figure it out, because these games kind of stretch all of our mental capacities already.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's kind of all I had to talk about with that. I was excited about that. So
yeah, no, that's really cool. What else you got for us, Matt?
In other
more
video game-ish related news, and I've been paying attention to this one forever. So the Magic Leap is an augmented reality company that emerged a few years ago, actually, with like a huge amount of hype. You may have seen the advertisements here and there. Like, does it sound familiar? Like the auditorium full of kids, and then like a whale jumps out of the floor and splashes.
Yes. I do remember that.
Or like an elephant, like a little elephant sitting in someone's palms. These are the ads for this company, and they've like absorbed billions of dollars of investment, because it seems like whenever these technologists go and look at their tech, they go crazy and throw money at them. And they just came out with their first product, which it's called the Magic Leap 1. It costs about $2,300. And people have been doing like their YouTube reaction videos, so we finally get to look at it. And I've been looking forward to this thing forever, so I'm obviously eating that up. And
yeah,
it turns out that it's not like it's crushingly disappointing, but it's also not like the most mind-blowing thing in the world that you would necessarily want to throw billions of dollars at. Like the field of view is kind of small. It's basically like if you're sitting a reasonable distance from your TV, then that's the field of view that's actually being captured by the augmented reality scope. So like if you turn your head, then you see the stuff that's superimposed on your vision just kind of fades into your peripheral and goes away, which doesn't sound so immersive.
No.
But they do. I mean, there is cool stuff. Like you don't have to be connected to a computer, so you can just like walk. It's got like a little fob thing that you put in your pocket, and that's basically its CPU. So you can like walk around a room and like, basically stick a virtual thing to a wall or whatever, or like put fake, pretend spray paint on the wall and turn around and then come back and it'll still be there on the wall. And, basically augmented reality is the idea where you're seeing the room as it is, but then you see the fake things superimposed on it. And kind of their whole shtick that makes them better than like the HoloLens from Microsoft, which is kind of the same idea, is that they use some kind of very complex physics thing I don't fully understand to project images at certain focal lengths. So it really tricks your eye into thinking that something's there, because it's actually able to focus on things rather than just kind of have them be floating in front of your eyes at like an indeterminate focal length.
Yeah. I think AR is fascinating, and I mean like there's been big strides in VR the last few years too, but I think VR has kind of been like always focused towards just games, and that kind of thing. But I think augmented reality has like actual like outside of entertainment implications, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's both good and bad. I think everyone watched that like horror video of the guy walking around in augmented reality where it's like ads and stuff everywhere. But I mean, it has a lot of practical uses as well.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, people definitely talk about commercial uses or like putting it on like people who work in factories so that they have kind of a heads-up display at all times.
Yeah.
And there's obviously like some gaming potential, but kind of in a different way. I honestly think that this product is not their killer app. Like they're going to make a better product that maybe has a bigger field of view at some point. Now that developers are working with their tech, they're going to be using like more developers are going to have access to their tech now that it's out, and better apps will come out, better games will come out, and maybe version 2 will be something that is more affordable, better, and maybe has some better software. And that might be the kind of thing that I would be interested in, because like you said, it sounds kind of awesome. The more it's one of those things, the more you think about it, the more fun it sounds. But I'm not going to buy this one.
Yeah, I think that's Matt. You know, that's a good call.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, $2,300. It's a lot.
Yeah,
you never quite want to be on that bleeding edge.
Yeah,
you got to be just like a few feet back from that edge.
Right, and there's really like I can't possibly think of like what I would actually use it for, other than like oh, good, I can play the 2 games that it has.
Right, yeah. That's the biggest problem. That's this, because it was kind of the same thing when the Oculus came out, right? Like it was like, this is really awesome, but there's no cool things for it yet, and that has changed now. But yeah, it's still 20. Matt, this is too much money. It's too much.
Yeah.
All right, that was cool.
Yeah. That's all I had to talk about today.
Cool. So yeah, we are going to now take you into the past, into our interview we recorded with Sesh earlier this week, and we hope you enjoy this interview.
Okay, so Scott and I, we've been fascinated with this whole phenomenon of Twitch and streaming in general. And I mean, I've been personally fascinated with this, what I perceive to be a really a mass cultural movement away from kind of the traditional monolithic media and into a world of smaller, more personal voices. And so we decided we wanted to talk to somebody who's doing that. So we have here Sesh, or Seshi perhaps. Which do you prefer?
I'll go with Seshi. It's a nickname, but it's me.
All right. So Seshi is a Twitch streamer, and I think she has fingers in a lot of pies, actually. So I'd like to. So why don't you tell us about yourself, and then we can get into some of the cool stuff you do.
Well, I've been a gamer my entire life, and through that, I found out about Twitch and what it was, and it sounded really exciting and fun, like socializing while gaming, and it didn't always have to be like multiplayer games, which I was fascinated with. Primarily, though, I'm a filmmaker, so I do, like you said, I come from a lot of different areas, lots of different backgrounds, lots of different things I'm interested in. I'm a little baby cosplayer too, so I go to conventions, Comic-Cons, anime cons. Yeah, I'm all over the place. Anything that's like considered a nerd thing, I basically am into, at least a little bit.
Awesome. So I guess one of the things we want to understand in getting this understanding of what Twitch is and why people like it, what got you into streaming? Like how did you start saying, I want to be one of those people that streams?
So for me, I ended up finding it through Smash Brothers Melee. Because I'm part of the Smash Brothers Melee community, I go to tournaments. I still actively play that game from 2001. Half of my friends that I still have to this day are from that era of starting to play that game. And as Twitch arose, that game's community completely changed. Because for the first time ever, you didn't have to be there to see all the excitement of what was going on. And it completely changed the community. The whole thing grew and blew up. And I saw those old friends and new friends streaming. And they'd stream all kinds of games. And there would be a huge amount of people watching, and they were chatting with these people, and it was really interactive, which I thought was awesome. And they could play anything, and Twitch has since expanded and done more than just games too. They started to expand and do like a creative category for any art creation, which is also something that I do. And so there was just more and more things and more reasons and more contacts and connections of why like I wanted to stream.
Cool. That would you say that it's kind of helped some of your friendships persist longer, or
Oh, absolutely.
like that?
Yeah, absolutely. The friend that was last helping me with some of the technical aspects of setting up a bot and some of the commands and that kind of stuff was actually one of my old Smash friends way back from when I lived in Arizona. And I hadn't spoken to him in years until I started streaming again. And he was just randomly like browsing it and saw that I was streaming something, recognized my name, and we chat pretty consistently now just via streaming. More so than any other kind of chatting.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was just watching one of your painting streams actually to try to get a sense of what was going on there. And I think it's funny because we were just talking about this, how it's difficult to explain to people what the appeal of this platform is, but I personally find that you have to experience it, and then there's nothing to explain. It's kind of self-evident. I don't know. What is your explanation for why people have gravitated to this and why we're seeing this happen?
I'm kind of on your side of the fence as being one of the people who sort of doesn't get it. I'm kind of more of a participant rather than like a viewer myself. But I've thought about it and I've come up with a few reasons that make total sense to me. One of which is it's fun to watch your friends play games, like just going over to a friend's house, growing up with video games. Like I had siblings, one of us might play and the others would watch, and it'd still be fun. It'd still be social. It'd still be interactive. And like that kind of interactive stuff with like Twitch chat, you don't really get on other platforms, which adds all kinds of fun incentives. And then also like if it's not maybe somebody like that's a friend, there's the like sportsmanship aspect to it, which people watch sports all the time. Like almost everyone watches some kind of sport. Like there's a ton of like really high level competitiveness that's streamed as well. And a lot of people that are competitors in some kind of game, like either like speed runners or like actual like pro gamers, they have a fan base that just wants to watch them because they're like that much better than everyone else. But
yeah,
I'd say the socializing is like the primary reason for it, because like, you'll find somebody, and then you can hang out with them.
Yeah, I really think there's something to that idea of, going over to your friend's house and watching them play games, because I think that's something that probably everyone on this call and most of the people listening did when they were kids. And it's just like, it was a part of being a kid, and it wasn't always multiplayer games. I mean, sometimes, you were playing like a game with each other. I mean, sometimes it was a 2-player game and you had 6 people. So you had 4 people watching and you're telling jokes and giving people hard times for when they mess up and stuff like that. And this is a way of taking that and transporting it to the internet, especially when people like us are grown up now and we don't maybe have the bandwidth in our days to drive over to a friend's house just to watch them play a game. Now we can just do it on the internet. And I think there's something to this idea that a streamer becomes like, it's an interesting relationship, right? Because it's like, I mean, you probably get to know some of your regulars on your stream, but it is definitely more of a one-sided relationship, right? Like they are like a streamer is broadcasting to many people, but you, the viewer, is only watching one person. So, but you still feel like you have a social, not only social interaction, but a sort of friendship with this person. And that's why you like continue to watch them and follow them, because it's like, it kind of becomes like hanging out with a friend.
Yeah. Definitely. A lot of people, too, start off with, they'll look through game categories that are like the specific game that they like. Like I've had a lot of people like, oh, wow, you're playing this game. I love this game. I just want to see you play it and wait for this scary part to happen or something like that. And then like they automatically have like a little bit of like a friendship bond with some similar interest right there from the get-go.
That's really interesting. It reminds me of kind of the vicarious enjoyment people got from listening to We've Got Worm, actually.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, this guy's he's doing it for the first time, Yeah.
It's absolutely like that for a lot of people. Like I have to remind people, like, please, no spoilers. This is my first time playing this game. Let me enjoy it.
Yeah, I'll admit that I've been one of those people that have just like, it's a night I'm not busy, I'm bored, sitting on my computer, I pull up Twitch and I just type the name of like an old game that I haven't seen in a while, and there's someone playing this old game I haven't seen in a while. Matt, the reason we're playing EverQuest randomly again is because we talked about it on a podcast, and then after the podcast was over, I opened up Twitch, typed EverQuest, and I was like, oh look, there's people playing this old game on the internet. Yeah. And I watched them for like an hour play this game, and I was like, I want to play this game again.
No, I mean, I think it's fair to say a big part of our like becoming friends in the first place was me sitting in your dorm room watching you play like World of Warcraft. So
yeah, that's very true.
The watching people play games thing is strong. You also mentioned like watching high level players, and one of the streams that I watch a lot is a StarCraft 2 stream, because I'm under the delusion that if I watch somebody who's really good at it, I'll get better. So yeah, I think that's definitely one reason why people watch these things.
I think that can help with some people if you're, going down that path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I also do like a lot of like choose your own adventure games. I just find those fascinating because I play a lot of like story driven, character driven, and like horror games. So when you mix in choose your own adventure, I love that, because it's like, I get to decide where the story goes, what my character does, if they're a jerk or if they're nice. I'm so into it. And a lot of people will tune in because they might have chose different things.
Yeah.
And so they kind of get to like see what happens without having to go and research it or look up YouTube videos or anything like that. And I get to see it in the moment and find somebody else's reactions always entertaining.
Yeah, it's almost like streaming is like an interactive version of Let's Plays. Like, I mean, Let's Plays became this big, huge thing for a while where like people loved just watching people do pre-recorded videos of them playing through a game. And now you can do that while they're experiencing it and be with them as they're experiencing this stuff for the first time. And that's such a more interactive type of relationship that people seem to really like it.
Yeah, I've tuned in a couple of times with some new games, like just personally watching somebody play through, because I like to see if I think I'd like the game, and then I could ask like just some random person, not like a reviewer, not anyone like that, or like an obsessed fan. Hey, how is it? How does this function?
Yeah.
How does this work? And so I could get like this little like mini review, personal review for the game if it's something new that comes out, which Twitch is always, whenever like a new game comes out, there's always like a huge flock of people that are just trying it. Like a lot of people like will pick up a game and, never finish it. But there's that little wave of people when something new comes out where it's really easy to kind of see how it is and what people think of it, like real people.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
So how do you pick the games that you want to play? Because I know there are a lot of streamers out there that just like say, I'm going to play the flavor of the month to get as many viewers as possible and kind of ride that train. And I think that's the Fortnite train, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
So how do you select like the games you want to play?
Well, for me, streaming, I want streaming to continue to be fun for me. And so I want to be playing games that I'm going to want to play whether I'm streaming them or not. I just, as an adult, the streaming kind of kills two birds with one stone, and so I have more incentive to actually play the game and take it off my shelf and do all of that. For me, it's I have a big backlog of games. Being an adult, being into so many other things, I have a lot of hobbies. I have a lot of content in literally every department that I try to get through. So games being so long, usually, even short ones are, 10 hours. I have a backlog that's like really solid. So like I almost always have like a huge stack of games, or like basically a Steam list of games that like, hey, I need to play these, and like I have an order that I want to play them in, and like I'll feel like what my audience does actually want to see for the time, because I don't want to be playing something that nobody actually wants to watch. And I do want to bring new people in, but I try to do like this. I try to like cater to both sides of like just what I know I will greedily love. Like Mass Effect is one of those ones for me, and whatever the fans want, which would be Fortnite.
Yeah, I respect that too, because I don't understand how you could play Fortnite for 8 hours a day every day and
Neither do I
still want to do that. Like I think that game, I watch people play that game sometimes. I think the game looks fun. I've never played it myself, but I couldn't imagine playing that as your full-time job. I think I would go insane. So I definitely respect that, not wanting to just kind of chase that.
Yeah, and then if you do it like that, like you're kind of a victim of whatever the next fad is. Because right before Fortnite, it was like PUBG.
Yeah.
So everyone was playing that one. Now they're playing Fortnite. And then what's the one going to be next? Maybe it's not so fun. Maybe you don't like it as much. Are you going to keep on following the trends, or are you going to play what you love?
And it seems like you have to be having fun doing the stream or nobody's going to want to watch you. So yeah, it definitely makes more sense to pick a game that you are expecting to have fun playing yourself.
Yeah, it helps, because there is a huge thing of burnout, because they are video games. It is easy, if you do like the game, to like just sit down for 6 to 8 hours and play. Plus it's added fun because you get people chatting with you the whole time. So it's really easy to sit down and just do that. But then you get known for it, and then it actually becomes your job. And then you have this scale where working becomes less fun. And people do have to fake it. Like a lot of streamers, even if they are very like genuine and they put like their own face rather than like a total persona on the screen, like they're still presenting themselves. They're still going on camera, or at least like having their voice out there. Or the thing is with gaming is it's an active pastime. And then when you add streaming and being social, even if it's like an online context, like it's still very active. It still takes energy. And so a lot of people, like, they just get burnt out on all of that. Like there's still like a face or persona, like a acting quality to it, even if you're not acting.
Yeah, sure.
I think that's true, because I think a lot of the perception from people is that it's an easy job, right? Oh, it's just you sit down in front of your computer and just play video games while people are watching you. But yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, what do you think then it takes to be a good streamer? Is it just skill at the game? Is it skill at the game and personality? And do those bars like move, based on the different levels of each?
Honestly, I think you say skill at the game, and I know I did talk about that being an element where pro players and like best in the world and records are super viewed streams. But if you suck at it too, that could be really entertaining.
Yeah, maybe that's my niche. I'll become the bad video game streamer.
Not before I do, Scott.
Yeah, I think it's honestly, I'd say it's like a personality thing. Like you have to, like I've seen like a lot of streamers. I'm in like a lot of like stream groups, because again, like I'm a little baby streamer, so I'm still like trying to grow and make it like a real thing. So I'm in like a lot of groups for streamers, and there's a lot of them that like they just don't socialize. Like they're not chatting, they're not trying to chat with Twitch chat, and it's a personality type. I think it does take to do it, more so than any gaming skills, and especially with Twitch, because Twitch is spread out beyond just gaming too.
Yeah, yeah. So you mentioned like communities and groups you're in. Like how does that work? So tomorrow someone wakes up and says, "I want to be a streamer." So there exist like these communities that will like you can join to like help bolster your viewers and hopefully grow.
Supposedly, yes. There are different communities. There's different websites have like different hashtags. Facebook has like groups. So there are elements like that. And then I've recently discovered that even like Twitch kind of has like their own like subcategories, like chill streamers, casual streamers, girl streamers, and categories like that as well, where people are probably similar to you and your streams, and you guys will probably pop in and say hi to each other within that group and try to all grow together. Twitch is very interesting because there's a ton of ways to support.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in the non-video game ones, because I had no knowledge of that until today, and now I'm like, wow, I wonder I wonder if you can get into some kind of sub community that you're not part of just by kind of learning the ropes via Twitch. You know, like it's just the possibilities seem very exciting.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that was really, really appealing to me, and part of like when I was taking it more seriously, like, wow, I do actually really want to do this. Like, do I want to specifically play video games, 8-10 hours a day, every day? When am I going to draw? Oh, wait, now I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, like their creative category I thought was really huge and fantastic to have. And it spurred up, like, right when you saw those new like Bob Ross memes coming into the internet, that was Twitch acquiring the rights to play it. And so like there's like always a Bob Ross stream.
That's so cool. Yeah. I was just forcing my kids to watch Bob Ross because I wanted them to see how to paint.
Yeah, well, it's on Twitch like 24/7. So
yeah, well, that's perfect.
I think that's a really interesting growth in the thing, right? Because I think when Twitch first started out, you could be banned if you're not playing games, right? Like you had to have a game up like at all time, or they would like suspend you or whatever, right?
Yeah, they've definitely had some rule changes over the years. They've gotten more specific with quite a few things. I think that was one of them in the earlier days. People would get around that by having a game out, but then they would eat or do something else at the same time for like hours, and it's just I love that they have it all categorized now. And yeah, again, the creative is really great because as somebody who I do have future cosplays I want to do, again, baby cosplayer, I think it'd be fantastic to be able to actually stream my work. I'm like, and show the process.
I think there'd be, an audience for that for sure. People really get a kick out of that, I think.
Oh yeah, there's tons of like quick little videos of people, I mean, literally doing absolutely everything out there. Yeah. They're like sped up, but to be able to like interact and go through it and see the frustrations and the little bits of accomplishment for like any task I think is going to be great.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think we've all seen the pictures of like the completed cosplays, and you're like, how the fuck did they do that? And I think getting to see the process would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it also strikes me that like if you're not as good at a thing as you want to be, like, I don't know, painting or drawing or whatever, you could be streaming it and potentially be like, hey, fellow painting community members, any comments on my technique? I don't know if that would actually work or not, because it's a text thing, but you could at least show people kind of what you're doing and how, and maybe ask for feedback and get better that way.
I like it. I think it's just part of that. You're able to interact, and it's in I don't necessarily want to say a healthier way than just like a comment section, but it's a different it's a different beast than the comment section. It has like both pluses and minuses, and just like that immediate interaction I think is really great and really beneficial to the actual content.
Yeah, people seem to not be horrible in live chats the way they are in passive comment sections, even though it's fundamentally the same thing, except for the time delay effect. I've never had anyone come into any of our live streams and be horrible. So I don't know, maybe you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely have, and I've definitely seen it just by being somebody within like an esports community. There's going to be, harsh critics and haters, just because that's how, competitive anything is, where there's going to be fanboys and there's going to be negative people. The thing I have noticed the most with Twitch chat, like good or bad, either way, it's a hive mind. So if you are there and it seems like kind of neutral and you're worried it might get negative, like just as a viewer, like you could just start typing in some positive stuff, and it's really interesting. You'll see like a lot of other positive comments, a lot of other people just agreeing. And the Twitch chat kind of has like its own, like they interact with each other too. Like they're all seeing what everyone else is saying. So they'll go and they'll be positive if like you're putting like good stuff out there, and negative is maybe like at least like twofold in that other direction if people start doing that. Like it could just take one comment and then just everything's sucks. But being positive like that still has a hive mind effect, except like the mods aren't gonna take down what you say if you're being positive.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a part of this that we maybe haven't touched on yet, is the interaction between the audience, right? I mean, there's definitely interaction between the streamer and the audience, but yeah, these people are all talking amongst each other as well, and there's that community aspect there where you as the streamer are kind of hosting this community of people. And they, can get to know each other as much as they get to know you, the streamer. And I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a really fun aspect of it too. Like, it's one of my favorite things when my chat's like all chatting with each other and they've gotten to know each other. Some of them are like really old friends, some of them are brand new, and then like new people come to the channel and they'll just see how overall friendly it is. I love it when that happens.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and I think we've seen a little of that, Matt, in that like we stream our recording session for We've Got Bored every week. Just for our patrons, and we basically set the rules like, we're doing this, we don't want to like bog the recording down with us interacting with people, so we're basically going to ignore you guys for the entire 2-hour recording session,
right. But even if it's Wildbow saying you're wrong.
Yeah.
Oh no.
but there's still conversation happening in the chat, even though we've specifically told people, we're not going to respond. There's people are still talking back and forth. They're discussing the things we bring up and talking about their interpretations of it. And I think that's so great. I love seeing that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think that the Discord also qualifies along those lines in that, I mean, we started the Discord, but it's its own wonderful thing that's well beyond us, certainly at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't keep up with it anymore.
No, me neither.
I've tried to dive in a couple of times, and yeah, it's huge. It's great. Like I just want to come in, like make a comment, but I'm like, oh no, they're talking about like this other recipe that was used, and what are these conversations?
Yeah, they go real quick. It's this remarkable thing. I think we just it was really just at a whim, right, Matt? We were just like, hey, you can attach a Discord to a Patreon account.
Yeah.
And we were just like, let's do that. And maybe, like, I was really worried because I thought it'd be really embarrassing if we announced this thing and then there's like nobody in there. But no, it was the exact opposite of that. And that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that is part of the whole streaming thing, is that community creation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like just being fans of the same things makes such a difference. Like it's this automatic bond.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I mean, you had a story you wanted to tell about how you found our podcast, I think, or something like that. I don't know the details actually.
Oh, it's kind of how I found everything we're talking about and how this came to be. Wow, gosh. So where to start? So I found Twitch, I mentioned it earlier, via Smash Brothers. Now, the exact reason for that was that my brother had messaged me one summer day. He was like, hey, our friend from back in the day, 2005, Rob, aka Wobbles, who is a professional Smash Brothers Melee player with Panda Global, hey, our buddy Rob's playing Mango. I'm like, that SoCal kid, Mango? I remember that guy, playing him in 2007 or something for grand finals at this thing called Evo. Like, okay. And he sent me the link, which was a Twitch link. And I was like, oh my God, Smash Brothers is still alive? This is great. Because there was a time that the game had, it just slowed down with the sequel of the game, and the community became very, very small. Most fighting games, everyone just kind of migrates to the new one, and Brawl wasn't that. So it had been a good 3-4 years probably since I was at a tournament. I didn't even live in the same state anymore. And that got me back into Smash Brothers, and that got me back in and showed me Twitch in 2013. And so from that, also Rob Wobbles is the one who did this as well. He is a avid reader, somebody who'd actually go online and read online unpublished fiction. He's one of those people, right?
That's weird. Those people are weird.
Yeah, who would do that?
Yeah. And being friends with him and most of his friends and all our friends being in the Smash Brothers community in Arizona, he shared this thing called Worm with us. And it spread amongst all of us. We all have loved it. It's had a 100% success rate with everyone who has read it. It is now part of the cult. But them all being Smash Brothers players, we eventually made this Facebook group that's all Melee or 4 players, all Smash players that have read Wildbow's works and love it. It's as niche as you can get, I think.
Yeah, it's like no, this is the Wildbow Smash subcommunity. Sorry.
Wow. Yes, it is. And as a member of that community, because of course I am, somebody else there had posted about this, like, oh, cool podcast about these guys that dive into Worm. And I was like, oh, cool. Back in like over a year ago in June.
Yeah, man, it's been so long.
Yeah. And that was even well after you guys had started. I needed time to catch up. So through that, I found both of you, your podcast, Doof Media, Twitters, and everything. And thanks, Rob.
I remember, I think you reached out to me on Twitter when you first, maybe when you caught up, I don't remember, but I just remember, ooh, this person said nice things about me on the internet. Follow.
Yep, I had to express it somewhere. Like, again, like, just props. You guys are like unbelievably analytical and somehow still entertaining.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's cool. I mean, I love this story because like we kind of stumbled into this mode of being like, you know what? It's better to be positive than to nitpick. You know, it's better to love things than to tear them down. And like your whole story is like a sequence of things that you loved that led you into other things that you loved. And just like a community of people who are just like, oh, this is cool. Check this out. Oh, this thing from this thing. This is cool. Check this out. And it's like, that's awesome. That's such a fun existence. You know, like that's why I love this. What, like, I don't even know what to say about it. Like this platform I want to say, but like when I say this platform, I mean like the future that we live in where we can all talk to each other and broadcast our love for things to each other. I just think it's so cool.
Yeah, it's what the internet and all these weird things and communities it's made has been able to give us, because it's so random, but it's how I am sitting here it's a lot of steps.
Yeah. And I mean it's like, I think you're absolutely right, Matt, that like the fact that someone can sit down in front of a microphone and just broadcast something to the world, whether it be a Twitch stream or whether it be a podcast or what have you, is all part of this movement that exists now. And it's so wonderful that like our community is tiny. Like you call yourself like a baby streamer. I think we're baby podcasters. But it's like, it's still like so great to see people like get together around this thing. And I love that, Matt, we kind of naturally switch to this let's just be positive thing. Like, I mean, we still, like, if we don't like something and we're reviewing it for a show or something, we'll be like, no, I didn't like this. But for the most part, we're like, let's seek the good things in this stuff, because it's very there's so many communities out there that just exist around like, let's tear this thing down because it's not what we wanted it to be. And I think that's what Twitch can do a lot too, because like, if you were watching someone play a game, you presumably like the game, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me wonder if there are people who just like hate play games on Twitch.
Like, this fucking game.
I will say all my friends are trying to get me to play Dark Souls because everyone hates playing it, but they also love the game because it's such a good game. But it's one of those where, there's a lot of hate players out there, I would say, for games.
That's a whole new community, Matt.
Yeah. We can be fanboys of the hate playing community.
There you go. Way to turn it positive.
Yeah.
All right. So let's, I guess we've been talking about, this is ironic because we just talked about being positive, but I think we have to talk about, you know, the bad side of this community, and that there's, which there is. I think there's a lot of, you mentioned that you had some people on your stream that have come in and kind of killed the mood and been jerks. There is a bad side of this program. This platform. There's harassment. There's people being jerks. And I was just wondering, like, what your experience with that is, and like what you think. What responsibility does Twitch have to manage and control the bad side of it, and what could they do to kind of curtail it better than they have been?
Oh boy, that's definitely a big question.
Sorry, that's my fault.
I'll preface with me personally, my stream. I do. There's a majority of friendly people there since it is a consistent stream. So usually when there is something negative, that voice gets muted out, or I have a lot of mods, like moderators in my group. I think that's honestly the biggest thing that maybe Twitch or some of the more negative chats that are like temporary, like these are the finals of this tournament. This is this random stream of this one person doing this one thing one time. Like those kinds of streams, I think need a lot more moderators just because people will come in, pop in, and then, nobody's ever going to see them again. And so they're negative. My stream, it's been pretty good because I have a lot of moderators. So they like we have a lot of banter. I'm very sarcastic, and so is my viewers. But like they'll be able to sift it out. I've been very surprised at how great they've been with that. And somebody will take the time and go click on that name and click ban and do all those other things they need to while I'm actually like actively playing a game, and I can't go click on these other things. Rather than just be positive. I had a Nazi come in my stream once.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
He came in complimenting me because I'm actually like super pale. Like I'm like a really white person. So he came in like complimenting me. Oh, this is weird. Okay. Just okay.
Jesus.
And then
I acknowledge your statement and
okay. Okay. Like that was
right.
my answer. And then somebody had said something or like something else happened. I don't know. And then he just went off, and then we're like, oh wait, his username is like crazy alt-right. Like it was a troll account to begin with. Like he was just looking for people to go antagonize, and yeah, they booted him, and then we started making fun of like Nazis for like 30 minutes. It's still like kind of a running joke. Hey guys, remember that Nazi that came on my stream?
yeah.
But oh no, go ahead.
So Twitch doesn't have a reputation system, I assume, like karma or upvote, sound votes, anything like that. Like for individuals. I was just thinking about like if you could downvote someone for their behavior, but no, I don't know if that would work at all.
You can report, you can ban, you can do things like that, and I think they are very good about actually like restricting accounts once that happens. And I believe there is. I haven't gone through and like tried to make multiple accounts myself on like this platform, but it's not really as easy to continuously go with multiple accounts and like harass somebody as some other platforms, but it's still a possibility and it still happens. But I think like if chat itself was a little bit better in those regards, it would lessen it. Mm-hmm. I think, mods are the biggie. And I think there's a lot of stuff you can do too. Like I have like just like I swear a lot too on my stream, but I have like some words I'm just like, well, if somebody's using this, like, they probably are coming here to troll. They probably are actually being one of those douchebags. So like I have like a ban list, but it's hard to set up for everyone. And there's lots of people that don't know you can do that. And it's a lot of work and it still restricts you. Like I try to, this is actually really funny and I didn't realize it happened, but I tried to raid. And a raid in it is like when you have like all your viewers and you're like, all right, I'm done streaming. Let's go raid this channel. And then you go and you help support that other channel by bringing them like all your viewers. And like usually it results in like follows and more support for that other person because we all try to give each other legs up. And there's a really fun, supportive thing, another thing that you can do to like support streamers because Twitch is great with that. Anyways, off track. This person, her username, she has tits in her name. And she's totally cool. I love her stream. She's fun. And I literally just tried to raid her. And like from my own prompt that I had like set up months prior, like, oh shit, I can't say tits. So I had to go change it. And I'm like, oh, I have to be able to raid her. What the hell?
You just got to use the native phonetic alphabet to tell everybody where to go.
Wait, what is that? What are you talking about?
Like tango.
Oh, yeah.
Tango.
You and your fancy words, Matt. I can't keep up.
That's too much.
So have you ever witnessed any of the like worse end of the harassment with any other channels or with your channel or anything?
I've definitely seen it. Like part of like an esports community, there is a lot with that, and just being a girl and having gal pals. I've seen it with friends. I mean, I've seen it with all kinds of players too. But there is definitely more directed towards women in gaming. All kinds of different quote unquote reasons. And so with competitive gaming, you get a lot of that too. Like anytime a girl will walk on the stream, I'm not like offended by this because it's obviously it came from like a typo. So I always think it's a little funny, but it still gets old because I literally see it all the time is grill instead of girl. Every time there is a girl on the stream, the entire chat will just start saying grill.
Jesus.
Like,
yeah, I could see that getting annoying.
Yeah, I'm already bored of that, and I just heard about it.
And speaking of like banned words, like that is something that some streams have had to ban grill because they might have a girl on the stream and people will just go off and spam grill.
Yeah,
I remember being 5 years old and arguing with my friends that was how you spelled that word. So I feel kind of bad now.
I think 5-year-old Matt is forgiven for that.
Okay, thank you.
On behalf of all girls, I forgive you. Or girls.
Okay.
Girls, yeah.
Thanks.
So I mean,
can speak for both.
and obviously, I think that's a carryover from the perception in gaming culture for a long time that this is something that only dudes do and girls it's rare to do. Do you think Twitch is assisting in the demolishing of that incorrect stereotype and perception? I mean, like you get to log on and see, hey, look, women play games too. There's one right there. Do you think is Twitch helping with that, or is it maybe hurting it?
I think it absolutely is helping. Exactly how you just said it, where, oh, look, there is a woman playing a game. Because we've been there, but you haven't been able to see it before. You haven't, it's always like the fake gamer girl thing was huge. And it's like, no, they're literally sitting there for just as many hours, maybe playing like even crazier, more difficult games or higher skill levels, or there's just girl gamers out there. And it's still, it never really was only a boys club. Our numbers have grown over the years. It has become more socially acceptable. So that does help too, because whatever's socially acceptable is what either sex is going to be doing for the most part. But
right.
It's helped because you can see that they're there. Like, there are girls there. They do really play. They do enjoy it. They do it for a living. And I think just naturally seeing it, like normalizing it, I think always helps. Whatever like the thing is, the more you normalize it. I know like running back to like Wallabo and like his writing, I know you guys did a little bit about this too with like some of the heroes just openly, publicly like being gay. Like it's just normalized. Mm-hmm. And that kind of stuff helps. Like even if it's something as silly as like girls playing video games, it helps with everything else that like comes along with that and all the baggage that might still be attached to it.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think that's a great transition to my next question for you is, so about Ninja.
Yeah, I've had some discussions about that.
Yeah, so for those that are listening that don't know, I think it was 2 weeks ago. I don't maybe it was just last weekend. I don't know. Time is moving so quickly now. Ninja basically announced that he's not going to stream with women anymore because he gets too much like not hate, but like people trolling him and like people assuming he's flirting with all these women every time they're on the stream. So his response to that was just, I'm not going to do it anymore. And responses to this have been, in my opinion, surprisingly mixed, where there was a lot of people defending his choice here. And I was wondering what you thought of that.
Oh, well, I'll correct you slightly with Ninja. Even better, he's scared of rumors happening. So
not even actual like
rumors,
just the threat of possible rumors.
It's happened to other people like in his like shoes and his platform entirely. So it's more like just trying to avoid the whole thing. I'll go into like Ninja a little bit for like who he is for like those who don't know. Ninja is the absolute biggest streamer on Twitch. Like he is completely shattered all of the records. Like we are all, like even the best streamers are like kind of pseudo celebrities within their community or via Twitch. But he had Drake come and play with him. So he's had like a door open to him that nobody else on Twitch has had open for them. And it's resulted in him. I think he went on a vacation for like 4 days and lost like oh gosh, I'm going to mess up the numbers, but thousands and thousands of subs, which means at least double that in income per month. So I think it was like 80,000 at least minimum, like even if people were just like prime subbing to him, that he lost in like that weekend because he took the time off and people just unsubbed. So he's huge, like, and it's all been like within like this last year or so for him that he's at this explosion of fame, and he's done a lot of good things with it too. Like he did like charity streams where he, of course, was able to raise more money than anyone else because he's on a bigger platform than everyone else just by having that fame. And he's done a lot of other positive things, and like I've been impressed with some of them. Like after this explosion of fame for him and success, he's changed his stream to where, like me, he used to swear a lot, but he realizes he plays Fortnite. Lots of kids play Fortnite. A lot of his audience in Twitch is younger kids, so he wanted to be a better role model for them. And he's like, I'm just gonna swear less. And again, a statement that had mixed reactions, but one that I think makes sense to people that present themselves on the internet forever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this statement, though, I think it wasn't a good call for him on quite a few levels. Like a lot of people have criticized that it's his own personal life. He can do what he want with it. And I agree with that. I think then he shouldn't have made the statement publicly. Like this would have been something nobody probably would have noticed because people still kind of don't care about women gamers all that much. So nobody would have noticed that he wasn't playing, honestly. It sucks, but that would have been not declaring either like these other, it's like publicly it's bad because it plays into like the sexist stereotypes for men and women. Oh, I should preface this too with like, I think he's a totally good guy and he's just oblivious. Like no hate is in his heart. Like I know I'm so sure he's not doing this out of like any hate or actual like fetishist. Somebody say the word for me. My tongue is getting, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, my tongue is getting so tired right now, but it's all not coming from a place of hate from him, but it still does play into the stereotype that like men can't keep it in their pants, which is a dumb stereotype. And then it also plays into like the stereotype that's still kind of, both are still being fought, but like women only have one kind of worth. And just neither are true, and it plays into both of those. And then just privately for him, that's a bad way to have a relationship. Like if I'm so glad he said that his wife isn't the one who asked for this, because if she did, that would be emotional abuse. You can't do that. Like that's a terrible precedence for a relationship, like just on a personal level, and then on a big scale it just plays into all these like really negative stereotypes. And I think he's gonna grow out of it, but man, right now.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that assessment, and I completely agree with you that this is a result of him probably not thinking through the consequences of that action, rather than I don't like women, so I'm not going to play with them. I don't think that's what he was doing at all. But yeah, I mean, and I think this leads me to something I wanted to talk about, which like the responsibility. This platform is so new and unique, and he's really the first like celebrity of it. And with that level of access and that level of celebrity comes, implicit responsibility. And I think one of those is you have the power to change people's perceptions of certain things. And so you have the power, like you talked about how just seeing women play games on this stream normalizes that. And he has the power to broadcast that to a bigger audience than anybody else, and to decline that power, to take that privilege and not use it to help people and he's, like you said, he's helped people in other ways, like he's done charity streams and all that stuff's great, but that's a really great opportunity to show the world, hey guys, women can play video games too, and also, hey, men and women can be friends without it being sexual, which is like a ridiculous conversation. Like the fact that we're still having that argument is insane. But like he has the ability to do that with a lot of very young, impressionable people, and he's kind of just decided to pass the buck on that, and it's disappointing.
Has he addressed it since then at all?
He defended it.
Well, I know.
But again, it's I know. It's again like I don't think he's made it as like an active choice. Like, oh, fast and buck. Oh, this isn't my problem. Oh, I'm a celebrity. Whatever. I don't need to worry about these things or these issues.
Yeah.
I totally think he's just oblivious to it. Like
Yeah.
But he doubled down that it's it's for his wife. It's because he loves her. He doesn't want these rumors to start, and it's. I don't know. Like I like to use like hypotheticals, like poke holes in like logic, and I've said this one in my discussions a couple of times where like, okay, well, let's say like the rumor starts that he was like actually bisexual, which is cool. Like who cares? But then he's married in a monogamous relationship. By that logic, then he has to also stop playing with men, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's a good point.
Like you just can't let the rumors have like that much control over. You like they just seem like they're in such a happy marriage that like it doesn't even need to be an issue.
Yeah, it does just seem like immature and a little bit insecure. Like when I first heard it, I was like, "Oh, lay off the guy. He's 18 years old. He'll figure things out." And then it's like he's 27. Like, God damn it. But he's I don't know. I do hope he kind of snaps out of it.
Yeah,
I think he can.
Yeah, and I think this is interesting to me because like in like old media, you get to the point where he's at and you have like PR people or the company you work for is like paying for PR people and paying to control the things that you say and the messages that you spread to the public. But this is new media. He doesn't have any of that stuff and he's risen so quickly, and it's just like, what level of expectation should we have for these people to behave in ways in which we're used to celebrities, quote unquote, act? I don't think the guy should be like completely ripped apart and destroyed for this decision. I think maybe he needs like PR people or something.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, I think this is related to this conversation pretty well, but like this last couple of weeks, Elon Musk has been driving the metaphorical ship of his life into the coral reef repeatedly on Twitter. And it's like, yeah, like he has PR people, but no one can stop him from doing that. And it's like, right. That's kind of the interesting thing about this, like everyone can broadcast to everyone all the time thing is, I mean, it even relates to the James Gunn thing where it's like, yeah, you say something online and you can very easily, that message can very easily get to 100 million people and ruin your life real quickly or yeah, it's a weird time. We haven't really figured out how to deal with this yet.
Yeah, it's very, very strange. I think, again, like him, like Ninja specifically being a streamer, there's like an interaction at play too, which I could see kind of led to is like, oh gosh, I don't want rumors because people are going to, interact with my wife. They're going to interact with me. They're going to send us all this stuff we don't want. But then he's also controlling himself. Like he's running his own Twitter. Mm-hmm. So... Yeah, like you get those problems about people having like either they're not double checking themselves or thinking twice before they speak, and they don't have like any other filters there. Like they don't have representatives, they don't have like managers, they don't have PR reps, they don't have any of that. I think we're at a time where like a lot of these people need it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, because we're getting to a point where it's like not only is it a career for a lot of people, but it's a massive career. I mean, he's probably a millionaire by now, right? Like the rate at which he's earning money is insane. So yeah, I mean, like you gotta get yourself some of that stuff. And I just think it's something that would never occur to you because you're just like, man, I just like play games on the internet and chat with a bunch of people. Like, do I need a PR person? Like how would the PR person interact with you? Like in a job like this, where his job is to unscriptedly interact with people all day, every day. Like that's got to be a PR person's worst nightmare. Like, are you sure you have to do that?
Yeah. Now, of course, the evil Glenn Chambers in this scenario might tell Ninja to, hey, go ahead and say something really stupid about gender in a public forum so that they start writing news articles about that and then you get more subs. which has kind of worked for PewDiePie, actually. Not that I suspect him
Yeah.
of being, not that I think he's doing it on purpose, but every one of his controversies that's supposed to sink him just makes him get more followers.
Yeah.
I'm kind of fascinated by the PewDiePie train, by the way. It's utterly mesmerizing to me.
It's like closer to a train wreck, I would say. Like Ninja has like a lot of positive going for him. PewDiePie's had like quite a few pretty big worded negatives.
Scandals, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Matt's exactly right. He has had all those scandals, and he's still making a lot of money. And I wonder like what it takes, you know, like what would it like? We had the whole Logan Paul YouTube thing, and he's doing fine. I actually don't know that for sure. I'm just assuming, but he's still still making his stuff. And I'm sure he's still making money hand over fist. So
You know what it is? Did you spot the difference? We got 2 YouTubers and Twitch.
That's true. That's true.
So speaking of Twitch, like their communities, like I think I've mentioned that there's a lot of different ways you can support. Like YouTube, you literally just hit subscribe. It's one button. That's how you follow somebody and see when they're doing stuff. Twitch has that, but then their subscribe button is like a prompt to give the streamer money. Like monthly, it's like Patreon basically. Yeah. But then they also have donations, and then they also have these things called bits, so you can cheers your streamer if you on your Twitch account watch any commercials. You get these little bits, and each little bit is a penny, so you can just throw pennies at your favorite streamer. Like there's just so many different ways that it's more like a platform for the community to get involved with the streamer, you know?
That's fascinating. So completely different incentive structure gets completely different behavior, and makes sense. I had no idea that was the case. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's like YouTube's all like advertiser driven. Like, again, like viewers just hit sub for free and they see stuff. Twitch is sub costs something. Almost a lot of things cost something, but there's a lot of ways to support that don't. Like you just follow, and it's the same as subbing on YouTube. And yeah, like they still can sell like advertisements, and that's Twitch's like primary way of making money. But like for the streamer, they don't necessarily like they can get cuts of it too, so it does help, but it's not. It's more like you're either below that bracket that like makes some money for that, or like you're above it and you make money for it. So again, I'm a baby streamer, so I'm like learning some of those other brackets that are there without having experienced them personally, just like through friends. But yeah, like there's just so many more different ways that just keep you involved as a community, I feel like. Whereas like, I mean, I'd hit sub to see what the train wreck is. That is what the other YouTubers mentioned.
But you wouldn't pay them, and that's the difference. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Like you kind of have to like and endorse the person to give them money on the Twitch platform, whereas I'm effectively giving PewDiePie money every time I watch one of his videos just to stare in awe. But no, that's a great point, and that never occurred to me. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting. It's a different structure, and yeah, it's all very fascinating to me. Like the idea of like sitting and just chatting with somebody who's like playing a game or like doing a painting or, gosh, all the other things that you can do on Twitch.
There are people that like write while streaming, and that like is so terrifying to me, Matt. I don't know if I could ever do that.
Yeah, no.
You have a typo of grill. Oh gosh. What was I trying to say?
Can you imagine real-time feedback as to the terribleness of your writing?
Yeah, right. I mean, no first draft I've ever written was worth looking at, so that would just be, yeah.
Yeah, it's different than like YouTube. Like I love a lot of what YouTube has. Like I think it's really great in a lot of its own ways. Like I'm probably as a viewer more inclined to like go to YouTube and watch like that short little like 2-minute video of somebody doing like a whole painting rather than sitting there in that like 3-day stream of somebody doing a painting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but what's interesting to me is like my mood will dictate which of those I'm interested in. And like sometimes I'm like, all right, I'm going to be copying 400 Excel things and individually one by one. I kind of want like a slow meditative something very like low information density to have on And that might be when I go for the I don't know, not that I've ever listened to a lengthy painting video before, but that might be something I do now because it sounds like the perfect match.
Yeah. All right. Do you have anything else that we wanted to ask, Matt? I'm looking at we had Sesh, we had a question list that I didn't share with you. I probably should have, but
that's okay. I figured you guys were good. I almost asked for it because I knew you'd come prepared.
Yeah. I think we're good. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about before we wrap this thing up, Sesh? Or
I know I will as soon as we're done.
Yeah, that's how.
I could say I feel so appreciative of you guys inviting me to be here and chat with you. I'm such a huge fan of your work, and this conversation has been so much fun, and it's like what I feel like I'm going through when I listen to your podcast. It's just like such a friendly, fun conversation that's insightful.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're very happy to have you. I think this was something that we were just tossing around ideas for shows, and this one kind of fell, and we were like, it would be disingenuous to talk about this without someone that knows things about it. So we were like, who do we know? And then we're like, oh yeah, Sesh, that'd be fun. So we're very happy that you were able to come on. I thought it was a great conversation. So
yeah, people are gonna like this, I think.
Yeah. So okay, let's plug your stuff. So if you want to give your and we'll put all this in the show notes if you're listening.
Okay,
so
that's
you can
good.
find it there, but some people don't check those. So.
Well, I hope they do because the spelling's all weird on all of these. So for Twitch, you could come and watch my stream on Review Sesh is my username on that. So you can find me there.
Do you have a set schedule, or do you just kind of?
I wish. part of being all over the place. I am traveling for tournaments. I'm going to local tournaments. I'm dressing up as cosplay sometimes for some days, and then I'm also a filmmaker. So I'm working on my own projects, doing my own meetings. And if you ever heard or know of the hashtag Set Life, I could be gone 15 hours a day, easy. So I'm working on it. I do try to stream 5 days a week, and at least for 3 hours if I can. You'll definitely catch those power hour streams. But you know what? You can follow and tune in. Hopefully the schedules will align.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's Instagram as well, which would be Sesh EV, and then my Twitter, which is what you found me through, Sesh Evans.
All right, cool. Matt, I think we're done, right?
Yeah.
This is the least smooth way to end the discussion.
We'll just cut it abruptly.
Yeah.
You can blame me for that. Oh, you know what? We could thank Rob too. He somehow was the reason I both found myself on Twitch in the Smash community for the second time around, and through Worm, and then now this podcast. So
yes.
Wobbles on Twitter. Shout out.
Wobbles.
Thanks, Wobbles. It's
Thanks
always
for
good
sharing our podcast with the community. Thank you.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout outs to the Smash Bros. Melee Warm group on Facebook.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again. This was a lot of fun. We appreciate it.
It was, and I do too. Thank you so much. I do hope I get to come back sometime for some other topic.
Oh yeah, we'd love to have you back.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just in fact, you maybe let us know if you have any thing you want to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be cool.
All right, guys, that's all we had for you this week. Let us know what you think about Twitch. If you guys have ever streamed before, if you watch streamers, why you watch streamers, who's your favorite, let us know this stuff. We want to know, because I think Sesh provided us some really great information on this stuff, but there's so much more out there, Matt, so much more that we don't understand.
Yeah, and you should follow her on all of her social medias too.
Yeah, definitely do that. And reach out to us at doofmedia@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter @doofmedia and let us know what you guys think.
Yeah, if you're not already subscribed to this podcast, we encourage you to do so and ensure you never miss an episode. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play, and pretty much anywhere else podcasts can be found.
We have tons of great content here and more stuff coming out each and every day. You can find all these shows and more at doofmedia.com. And if you like what we do here and want to support us, consider becoming a patron of Doof Media. You can head on over to patreon.com/doofmedia and pledge $1 a month or whatever else you can afford. There's tons of great Patreon bonuses at each and every donation level. So check those out and help support us.
Yeah, and also please consider rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts, because every review helps us get more exposure and also introduces new people to the content that we make here.
Yeah. Matt, there was a thread I saw on Twitter this week that was like, name something you hear in podcasts that you never want to hear the podcaster say again. And one of those things was, we'll see you next week. And I felt personally attacked.
Yeah. I mean, that's so offensive.
I know. And we'll see you next week.
My name is Doof, and you'll do what I say. My name is Doof, and you'll do what I say.